In the Philippines, the single most powerful tool for holding officials accountable just got a massive overhaul. The Supreme Court has fundamentally changed the rules of impeachment, and it's kicking up a whole lot of debate. So, let's get right into it and unpack exactly what changed and why this is such a huge deal. And that's really what impeachment is all about, right? It's supposed to be this powerful tool. As Rene Sarmiento, one of the people who actually framed the Constitution, reminds us, it was designed to be the ultimate check on power, a way for the people to demand accountability through their representatives. So that brings us to the big question here. What happens when the Supreme Court steps in and changes the rules of the game? This isn't just some dry legal argument. We're talking about the fundamental balance of power in the country. Okay, so here's the headline news. The Supreme Court has made its decision final. They denied the House of Representatives' appeal, and that's that. The articles of impeachment filed against Vice President Sara Duterte, they're now officially considered unconstitutional. So the case as we knew it, it's done.
But here's the thing, and this is absolutely crucial to understand. This ruling is way bigger than just this one case. The court didn't just decide on the specifics here. It laid down a whole new set of much stricter rules that are going to apply to every single impeachment from here on out. This is the new playbook.
All right, so how exactly did the process get harder? Well, the court's new framework basically sets up three major hurdles, three new roadblocks that any future complaint is now going to have to clear. Let's break them down one by one. First up, the clock is ticking, and it's ticking a whole lot faster now. See, it used to be that the 10-day deadline to act on a complaint meant legislative days, so you only counted the days Congress was actually in session. Now, the Supreme Court has changed that to calendar days. That means weekends, holidays, they all count. It might seem like a small change, but it dramatically shrinks the timeline and puts a ton of pressure on the House. The second hurdle is what some are calling the due process gauntlet. The court has added new requirements right at the very start. Now a complaint has to be filed with enough evidence attached right from day one. And not only that, but every single member of the House has to have access to that evidence. Plus, the official being impeached has to be given a chance to respond. Now, critics are saying this basically creates a mini trial right inside the House, way before it's even supposed to get to the Senate. And the third hurdle? Well, it essentially shuts down what used to be the impeachment express lane. Before this ruling, if a complaint got the support of 1/3 of the House, boom, it went straight to the Senate for a trial, completely bypassing the committee process. That option is now off the table. Under these new rules, every complaint, no matter how much support it has to go through the Committee on Justice first. So when you put all these new hurdles together, you get to the absolute heart of this debate. Is the Supreme Court just trying to protect an individual's rights, or is it overstepping its authority and meddling in Congress's business? Now, to really get why people are so fired up about this, we need a quick refresher on a bedrock principle: separation of powers. It's the whole idea that you have three co-equal branches of government, and each one is supposed to stay in its own lane. Congress makes the laws, the president executes them, and the judiciary interprets them. Simple, right? Well, this is exactly where the critics, including Rene Sarmiento, again, a guy who literally helped write the Constitution, are sounding the alarm. He says there's a clear element of judicial intrusion here. The Constitution gives the House the exclusive power to initiate impeachment. So the argument is, how can it be exclusive if the Supreme Court is now setting the rules for it? And people are not mincing words here. They're using some pretty heavy terms, calling it judicial overreach or even a judicial amendment, which basically means they believe the Supreme Court has effectively rewritten a part of the Constitution all by itself. But of course, there's another side to this story. From the Supreme Court's point of view, this isn't about overreach at all. It's all about one thing: due process. They argue these new rules are just necessary safeguards. They're there to make sure the accused gets a chance to be heard, to confirm the evidence is real, to verify that lawmakers' endorsements are legit, and to give the entire House time to properly think things through. So the legal dust has settled. What does this all mean in the real world? What is the new reality for accountability in the Philippines? Former Congressman Barry Gutierrez puts it pretty bluntly. The process has been made difficult again. He makes the point that the framers of the Constitution intentionally made impeachment easier than it used to be, precisely to avoid a situation where a powerful official was basically untouchable. This ruling, he argues, kind of walks that back. And then there's this really interesting and maybe unexpected consequence. The Constitution is clear. You can only start one impeachment proceeding against an official per year. Now, because the Supreme Court decided that the first flawed complaints did count as being initiated, that means the one-year clock has already started, so any new attempt is effectively blocked for a full year. So where does this leave things? Well, it's not totally over, but it is back to square one. The proponents now have to draft a completely new complaint, and this time they have to navigate all three of those big new hurdles the Supreme Court just built. And all of this leaves us with this one huge lingering question. The Supreme Court stepped in to protect due process, but in doing so, did it accidentally weaken what the Constitution's own framers called a powerful tool for accountability? Has the balance of power shifted for good? And what does that mean for the future? Well, only time will tell.